As students head back to school, well, so do bullies. So how can kids battle this problem and best protect themselves? And what are lawmakers doing to try to stop the crisis and empower our children and maybe educate parents? Matt's Law is an anti-bullying bill named after Matt Epling, a boy who took his own life following intense pressure from bullies. His father has been fighting to get state lawmakers to implement a bill against bullying. Clarence Doss is a juvenile lawyer specializing in bullying. You've represented both bullies and the bullied. How's Matt's Law doing right now? What's the status?
Well, it's finally up for debate this fall. The bill has gone 10 years worth of debate in Lansing, and it's finally now up. There's a revised version that's going to be there, but it's not there in time for the school year, which formally begins today.
Let's talk about today. Kids going off to school, and it starts right away. We've all been in school. We know how it starts. Some kids just feel the need to pick on other kids. That's what we used to call it when we were in school, is picking on them. It's bullying. How do kids, we've asked the question, how do you let kids empower themselves? What do you tell them?
Well, the first thing they need to know is they have parents at home, and if they don't have parents, they have friends or guardians at home. And if they're feeling like they're being bullied, they have to tell someone that they're being bullied. The only way people know that a bully exists is by a victim of bullying telling them. So you have to communicate, you have to go home, you have to mention it to someone before you even start doing the other steps of stopping the bullying. There's
also bullying based on race and gender, and sometimes this is the toughest kind just because you stand on you're a little different, and that's what other kids are going to pick on.
If bullying is based on race and gender, if your son or daughter has those issues at school, you can contact the United States Attorney's Office here in Michigan, and they will prosecute bullying cases on a federal level if they relate to race or gender.
So you don't have to have a bullying law in Michigan, for instance, right now. It doesn't matter the status of Matt's Law. That is a law right now, a federal law.
And it's correct, but it's only limited to those two areas, race and gender, so there are other ways to do it if you don't fall into one of those two categories.
You also said parents, kids need to talk to their parents. Now, what can parents do then if, again, there is no Matt's Law, maybe it doesn't fit into the federal categories, and the school doesn't necessarily have a policy? What can a parent do?
Governor Rick Snyder's office has put together a proposed anti-bullying policy. Because we don't have Matt's Law or any law, schools are not required to implement it. But if you know that your kid is being bullied, or even if you feel that no kid should be bullied, go to your school, look up the policy online, and ask the school to implement it. It's that easy.
So a school can unilaterally decide on, in effect, its own law?
That's correct, and they can tailor it to their school, to the community, to the ethnicity, to the religion of each student. All they have to do is put it in place.
Does that give it any legal teeth, then, if this thing does go down that road and you have to pursue legal charges?
If you have a policy, there still is no legal teeth because we don't have a law. The last hurrah, the last saving grace for a student that's being bullied is to simply take matters into your own hands and treat it as you would a criminal case. That's the unfortunate reality here. Without a law, you treat it like a criminal case. If your kid is getting abused at school, call the police. Say that there's harassment. Say there's abuse. Say there's neglect.
So it has to go beyond just bullying, so maybe assault. You know, if the kids are pushing or shoving or something like that.
Emotional distress, assault, battery, any of the things that we normally associate with violence as adults could be used for kids as victims of bullies.
I know a lot of people think that these laws are really aimed at helping the bullied, but in a way you're also helping bullies by establishing a framework.
That's correct. If the school takes on bullies themselves and talks about it, the idea of being a bully will not be as attractive as it was when it was hidden, when it was secret.
So it becomes a definition, and people who are doing the bullying understand where they fit in it and understand their consequences.
That's correct.
All right, so Matt's Law, what do you suppose is going to happen with that then?
It will be debated. It's been debated for 10 years. It will be chiseled away to a final bill this fall. The bill should be up for a vote before the House and the Senate in our state, and hopefully by the time winter semester comes for public schools and private schools, we'll have Matt's Law, we'll have a bill that will finally ban bullying in the state of Michigan.
All right, so if you're a parent or have an interest in this, make sure you call your legislator and tell them how they're supposed to vote on this one. Clarence, thank you so much. Always a good thing to see you around here.
Thank you very much.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
All right, Joanne.
All right, thank you, both of you. And we've got some more information now. Experts have the important advice for victims of bullying. Sometimes it's good to speak up. Tell the bully to stop. You can also try walking away. Telling an adult may help. Very important to do that. And to make sure to stick together if you're being bullied. Try not to walk alone. Victims of cyberbullying should not respond. They do need to report it, though, and keep the evidence. And make sure to ask for help. At WXYZ.com, you can find important resources to fight all sorts of bullying, including attacks against sexual orientation. Just look for the bully story on our homepage.